Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, you guys. We are here for episode 2 of Surprisingly Simple Secrets to Making 2020 Your Best Year. I'm so excited to have you here. This is episode 2 of 3. And so if you didn't catch last week, episode 1 was about clarity, getting really clear about what it is you want to do and why. If you haven't seen that, when you're finished with this, go back and watch episode 1 from last week, because it will really get you on track to thinking about what it is that you really are trying to go for in your life. What do you want 2020 to bring for you? And get really, really clear about it. So happy to have you here. And I just want to do a little bit of a reminder for you if you weren't here last week, and some info for you if you're new. First of all, welcome if you haven't been on one of these before. Cherie, so good to see you joining us from South Africa. So I'm also running a contest. I'm giving away a really cool coaching package. And so I want to tell you a couple of ways that you can get extra entries into that. And so one of them is to be present live here on the broadcast. And I will tell you there were some difficulties last week. And so in order for me to know for sure that you were here live, I need you to comment. You can put a comment in there. Just start out by telling me where you're from, and you get an entry, 2 entries just for that. Also, I'm going to give you 2 entries this week if you participate in the chat while we're live, just asking questions, things that are relevant. Like if I ask a general question and you give your answer there, I'm going to give you 2 more entries for doing that today. If you are watching this on a replay, just comment that you're here. You'll get 1 entry for that. And then also if you interact, I'll give you 1 entry for that as well. And then this week you get 3 entries if you share this broadcast or an invitation to next week's broadcast. So once we're finished, this will be posted for replay. And so share that with your friends who you know need just a little help getting ready for 2020. Those friends that you've had conversations with, and together you're like, you know what, life has got to be more than what it looks like right now. So let's dive in, because we don't have a lot of time. And the topic for this week is so critical. And so I have 3 pillars that I coach off of to make sure that people get on track and stay on track to reaching the goals and dreams that have been buried inside for a long time. The first is clarity, that we talked about last week. So that's really getting clear about your what and your why. So oftentimes in life, we go through life going toward a goal because we think we should, or because it's safe for us. I call those substitute goals. And if you go back and watch last week's replay, it will help you kind of sort through your own life and figure out, what is it you really want? What kind of life are you really trying to build? Not because the world expects it or you think that you should, but because it's what you really want. So that's the clarity. This week, we are talking about mindset. And mindset is so critical. I will tell you from my own life and from working with clients that mindset is the number 1 barrier for people moving forward, taking action, and believing it's possible to make the shifts in their life that they really want and need. So mindset, it's about aligning your beliefs and your thoughts with where it is that you've just been clear about where you're trying to go. So last week you get clear about where you want to go. This week we are talking about how to rewrite the scripts that you've been saying to yourself over and over again, probably from a very young age, about why it's not possible. So I want to ask you a question. Have you had thoughts like, I can't do it because I don't have enough time, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough connection, I'm not as good as so-and-so who's already doing the thing I really want to do, or nobody's ever done it, there's no way I can possibly do it? Have you had any of those thoughts? Let me know in the comments if any of that rings true. How about these? I'm an imposter. If people really knew how little I know, I wouldn't have the place that I have. Or how about, I have failed before, and so I'm just doomed to fail again. I don't have what it takes. I can't figure it out. I don't have the ability to make my life look different than it looks now. All of these are mindsets that can be changed. And when you embrace the power of changing those things, it shifts your future. So I want you to think about this. If you put yourself, just be present in your body right now, wherever you are, just be present in your body. And I want you to think about What happens in your body when I say these statements? Okay, so I'm going to read a series of statements first, and then I'm going to do a second set. And I want you to tell me what physically you're feeling in your body when I read these things. Hey, Rochelle, I see you there. Okay, so the first set of messages. There is just no way this is possible. I don't have what it takes. I always screw it up. I'm just going to be disappointed by the result, so I'm just not even going to try. I'm not as good as other people. So why even bother? Somebody else is way better at this than me. What happens in your body when you hear those messages? Most likely what happens is you try to get small. Your insides start to compress. Your brain starts to come down. Your energy gets low because all the things you're thinking are negative. What if we flip those around and we say, even if I don't know how to do it now, I'm going to figure it out. I've been through tough things before and I have what it takes. You know what? I'm not going to back down from a challenge. I know that I can do this. I am capable. I have overcome, and I will overcome any barriers that stand between me and where I'm headed. I can do this. What happens in those moments when you hear those words? Chances are you start to expand. Your brain starts kicking into gear and thinking of the possibilities of how you can make it happen. You get small with the negative and you start to expand with the positive. If you are going to take ground that you haven't yet taken, you have to expand. You have to be at the point that you are like, look, my brain is engaged, I'm doing this, and I'm going to make it happen. So this is why mindset is so important. Think about, if you don't believe me, I want you to just, in the next 24 hours, be really conscious of where your thoughts are and how your body physically responds and your energy level. So when you are feeling like I'm stressed out, I'm ready to be done with work, thank God it's Friday, but what if you've got a busy weekend ahead and you have to do some things you don't really want to do and you're dreading it? What happens in your body? What happens in your energy when you're focusing on those negative things? And what happens on the opposite side when something really cool happens? A friend sends you a text that really lights up your day. Your child does something that really warms your heart up. What happens to you physically then? Where does your energy go? Be conscious of that. And this is all stemming from what's happening in our mind. Your mind is so powerful. So what I want to get at with you guys today is 2 basic concepts about how to start driving new messages and replacing those negative things that you've been thinking. So there are two components of this: fear and limiting beliefs. And so I know for sure that you know what fear is. You've heard this term, you've experienced it, you have a concept of what fear is. Fear is something that can really take over your mind. You can start thinking of something being the only possibility for the future. So for example, if I'm afraid of rejection and I start focusing on, well, if I go into that situation, I'm just going to be rejected. I'm already living right now. If I follow that fear, I'm living right now as if that fear has already happened because I don't start moving forward. Let me say that again because it's really powerful. When we act in the present about a future fear, it's as if that fear has already happened. But the problem is, fears are not yet a reality. They're a possibility, but not a reality. The problem is that we're living in the present as if that future possibility is a present reality. Do you get that? Fear makes us live as if a future possibility is a present reality. And then we're stuck. You are not yet rejected. You have not yet failed. You have not yet been left alone. You have not yet proven that that fear is the only possible option. Yes, maybe you failed in the past, but have you failed at every possible thing that you've done in your past? No. Maybe a few things, maybe they were major things, but that doesn't mean that everything in your future is automatically doomed to be a failure. But if you don't start shifting what happens here, you're living as if that's already true, And then what happens? It is a failure because I'm not even going to try. I'm not even going to try that thing because I'm so afraid of failure that I'm just going to stay where I'm at. And then I'm actually already failed because I never tried, right? Hey, Gina, good to see you. And Hash, I also see you there. I don't know if you're still here, but it was good to see your name come through. So, okay, fears. We are really familiar with this idea of fears. But what I want to talk about today is limiting beliefs and how they partner with fear to keep us stuck. So, a limiting belief, if you're not familiar, just think about the term belief. The term belief refers to living as if something is true, even if you cannot prove it. So often belief is associated with spiritual things, right? So I believe in a higher power, I believe in God. Can I prove without a doubt to you that that's true? No, but I'm designing my life as if that were true and believing it to be true, and that is a belief. So then if you add limiting onto that, it is living as if something that limits you is true, even though you can't prove it to be true. And limiting beliefs show up in our lives as these negative thoughts we have. I'm not good enough. I'm not capable. I can't do it. I'm not as talented. Somebody else deserves it more. I'll be selfish if I try to pursue something for my own desire instead of just doing what everybody else needs me to do. These are limiting beliefs. And what happens is that limiting beliefs and fear partner up to build a wall that keeps us from taking steps forward into our dreams. So let me give you a visual example. I think of it like a brick wall. So if you think about, imagine with me that there is an actual physical brick wall in front of you. So all the bricks are there. What is holding those bricks together? It's mortar, right? If without the mortar, you could easily just knock those bricks over. So how fear and limiting beliefs work together is that fears are those bricks. So let's say, for example, fear of failure is your brick. Fear of failure is your brick. It's only being held in place and holding power in your life because of the limiting beliefs around failure that you're holding as the mortar that keeps that brick in place. So fear of failure could have limiting beliefs along with it, such as, if I try and fail, I'll never recover. If I fail, everyone around me will think I'm a loser. If I fail now, I'll just keep failing in the future. So those beliefs are the messages that we send ourselves over and over again that hold that fear of failure in place. Every limiting belief that you hold, all those negative messages that you're telling yourself, are attached to some fear. So to help you, if you don't yet have your pen and paper out, take it out now and take a few notes, because I want to just highlight for you some of the major fears that we face in life. And I'll give you some ideas of limiting beliefs that might be associated, so that what you can do is think about in your life, what are your limiting beliefs and what fears might they be tied to? And then when we wrap up at the end, I'm going to give you some tools to start rewriting those messages. Okay. So for now, let's talk about what are the major fears that we encounter in life, and what are some associated limiting beliefs that might help you connect what your fear is. What's your deep down fear that those limiting beliefs attach to? Okay, so a big one is failure. I'm afraid of failure. And that might show up in thoughts like, I can't take that step because I don't want to fail at it, so I'd rather stay safe here, knowing that I haven't tried and failed. I'm just not going to try. People will think poorly of me if I fail. I wouldn't be able to recover from a failure. Another fear is a fear of success. That might have limiting beliefs like, I don't have what it takes to get and maintain success, so I better just stay where I'm at. Or, if I make it, people will see that I'm actually a phony, I'm an imposter, and I don't deserve to have that success. I didn't actually earn it. I don't have what it takes to deserve that space. So I might as well just stay here because I don't want people to discover that I actually feel like I'm a phony. Imposter syndrome is real, you guys, and it happens at all levels. People who have been majorly successful. I just had some conversations this week with other people who have launched their own businesses and been very successful. And yet we still face these barriers. I do as well, that we think, oh, but I don't have what it takes to get to that next level and stay there, or get to the next level from that and stay there. So you know what, maybe I'll just stay where it's more comfortable right here, right? Hi, Pastor Lomi. So we got people from South Africa, we got people from the US, we got people from Fiji. It's good to see you guys. All right. Another fear is fear of rejection. And that might show up with limiting beliefs like, if people really knew me, they wouldn't like me. I can't rely on other people because they'll always leave me behind. I'm afraid of being alone. These are all limiting beliefs that are associated with rejection. Fear of love and intimacy. That might come with thoughts of, I don't actually believe that I'm lovable. I don't know how to love other people or receive love and care from others. I use humor to deflect intimacy. I'm not comfortable sharing intimate feelings, even with those close to me and people who I know are safe. Or I overshare and I don't know how to judge when people are actually safe because I'm hoping that somebody out there will hear me, love me, and accept me. So I just, I barf it all on people, hoping that somebody will grab it and be like, I see you, I know you. But the problem is you've now shared that with a bunch of people who aren't safe and might even use it against you. How about a fear of insignificance? That would come with things like, my life and actions don't matter. They're not significant. If I'm not as good as someone else, I'm actually not valuable. It's like all or nothing. If I'm not the best, I'm insignificant. I don't think I make a positive difference in the world. You know what? I'm just going to be forgotten when I die. Or I don't want to be forgotten, and so I'm going to work really hard to avoid that. Death or harm. Are you afraid of death or harm? So listen, I want to just take a note here to say, if you have a really serious issue around fear of death or harm, and you need to get real support for that, please seek professional help. This can be a really dangerous one. It can show up in ways that are more subtle, but if you really struggle with this, I want to encourage you to seek professional help. But if this is just kind of a small thing in your life, here are some thoughts that maybe you might have. When I hear about a new disease or condition, I immediately feel like I might have it, and I do a bunch of research and confirm that, yep, indeed I do. Or my mind spends a good deal of time creating scenarios of all the things that could hurt me or harm me and how I can avoid them. So if you travel to a new place and you're in a hotel room, are you thinking about all the ways somebody might break into your hotel room and how you've got to protect yourself? You might have an overly irrational fear of death or harm. It's controlling more of your life than you really want it to. Here's a big one. Fear of loss of control. This is such a common one because we really prefer staying in control, don't we? What does control give us? I want you to think about, for you, what does control give you? If you feel like you're in control, what else comes with that? And why do you don't want to lose that? Why don't you want to lose that? Like, I feel like I'm in control. All right, some limiting beliefs that come with that. If I don't know what to expect, I will not be able to control the outcome, and therefore I avoid entering a situation that I can't control. I grew up in an uncontrolled environment, which made me feel unsafe all the time. So as an adult, I don't want to be in that situation again, so I calculate all my moves and don't take action if I can't predict what the outcome is going to be. How about this? I orchestrate all aspects of my life so that I can easily know if I'm in line or in order and things are under my control. People often refer to me as type A or anal retentive. I cannot relax if I feel like I might lose control in a situation. So these are some examples. Again, this isn't going to hit everything, but these are just some examples of fears and limiting beliefs. And I want to really make sure that you guys get and understand that these things are working in partnership to prevent you. They're building that brick wall that's keeping you from taking the action that you need to propel into your best year. And we need to slay these. We need to get rid of these. And so, Cherie, I saw that you said earlier, I've failed before, so I'm doomed to fail again, and I don't have what it takes. Those, first of all, I just want to say to you that those are so common. And don't for 1 minute think that there's something wrong with you, that there is something askew with your makeup because you have these thoughts and these feelings. This is so common. But you know what else is common? That you have the same power to reverse it as I do, as everybody watching this does, as anybody. Like, think about the people in your life who have made adjustments, who have made changes, who have shifted the way that they see themselves, that the way that they see the possibilities in the world. They are human. I am human. You are human. And none of us got some extra set of special skills that somebody else doesn't have. We all have the same power over our mind. The difference is how much we embrace it and do the hard work. Because I'll tell you, if you've been holding on to a limiting belief since you were a small child, often these thoughts come at a very young age. And that's what we're going to get into now, about how to start to shift them. But the problem is that you've been carrying this around for a lot of years. And that means that you have learned to listen to this voice above everything else. And you hear your own voice 24 hours a day. And that means that nothing, I want you to really hear this. You hear your own voice 24 hours a day. So if the messages that you're telling yourself are ones that are negative, that tear you down, that tell you how much you can't do something, it is never going to matter how much you accomplish externally, how many compliments you get from those around you. That will have no impact in the long run. It might make you feel good for a short time, but because the internal message keeps coming back, it will negate all of that external source. Do you understand that? If you don't shift how you think here, it doesn't matter what happens on the outside. So if you think, I'm afraid of failing, and you strive to be the best at everything you do, it won't matter how many accolades you get, how many promotions you get, how many times people admire you. It won't matter if the message here is still, I'm going to fail, or if I can't fail because I'm not worthy. Because the problem is, you're always going to be like, well, there's something else I have to do now. I have to do this. Now this thing here. Now I have to do this over here. If you can get at the root and start shifting that thought and think about yourself and really believe, I have value regardless of how many times I try and fail, how many times I succeed. I have value just because I am a human being living on this planet at this time in history, and I have the freedom to make a shift in my future. If you can start shifting the thoughts in here, it shifts what's possible for your future. And so I'm going to give you a couple of tools for you to use. And I just want to, like, there's a caveat here that, I'm not working with you one-on-one in this scenario. When I'm working one-on-one with clients or in a group coaching setting, we can dig really deep and I can help guide you when you're feeling like these tools, you're getting a little bit stuck. And so I want to encourage you. I will also, again, like I did last week, I'll drop the link to set up a 20-minute chat with me. And if you are stuck, even after going through these videos, you're still feeling stuck, I want you to reach out to me. We're going to have a 20-minute chat. And then together we're going to determine if there's a way that you and I can continue to work together so I can really get at the roots with you personally and help you transform the exact things that you need to. In the meantime, what I'm going to give you now are some tools that you can try to apply on your own. They are definitely more powerful when you're working with somebody else or a coach like myself who has training and background to help you get there. But these are tools you can use on your own. So the first one is to do a visualization. And I'll give you a few pointers about that. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself, please take notes. If you're not already, please be taking notes here. Put yourself in a quiet space where you can really have mental focus. Take 3 really deep breaths in, hold them at the top, then release them. Close your eyes. And then I want you to start visualizing that voice you hear. So the first thing you do is you pick one of the most prominent limiting beliefs that you have. If you are always thinking about, I'm not good enough, take that thing. What are you hearing the most? Take that one and you pull it into what you're visualizing. So close your eyes, you think about this statement that you've been believing over and over again, and gradually I want you to start personifying that voice. What does the person who's saying that to you look like? You might think this is your own voice, but it isn't. It is not your voice. So the purpose of this visualization activity is to try to get at, where did this voice originally come from? Where did it show up? And what's it trying to do in your life? How is it actually trying to protect you? So in the visualization, you start to personify the voice, and you can ask that person that you visualize any questions. Why did you show up? Who are you? How old was I when you first came? What are you trying to protect me from? What is it that you want for me? What's the good thing that you want for me by making me believe I'm not good enough? So you ask this voice these questions, and what it can do, this has been such a powerful exercise with people. It will help you to see where this started. Often it will have started way earlier in life than you realize, which means you've been holding it for a really long time. It will help you to figure out what it was trying to do and what it really wants for you in your life, because here's the other set of tools. This one, if you don't want to do a visualization, this one is more of like a journaling activity. So I want you to write out some questions that you can reflect on and journal on. And I just want to say this. I don't know each of you what you believe about the power of your subconscious, but I come from a perspective that I believe your subconscious has so much power and authority in your life, and we have not learned how to embrace that for the good. So what I recommend for you to do in either the visualization or this journaling exercise, I want you to say, you're going to feel silly if you've never done this, but just do it anyways. I want you to say, listen, subconscious, I know that you are trying to protect me, and I need you. I need you to show me in this situation what I don't know yet. I need you to help me see what only you know, because you're working on such a subconscious level. I want you to show me what I need to know. You're asking your subconscious to partner with you, and what it's doing is taking that thing that's like laying at the bottom of your brain. I'm not a scientist, so I'm sure I'm not describing this right, but this is how I think about it. It's been kind of laying dormant in the background without much attention. You are calling it into action and forward, saying, look, you are a vital part of moving forward. You are holding some keys to stuff that I didn't even realize were there, so please show me. So you're asking your subconscious to partner. So do that either with visualization or these journaling exercises. So in the journaling exercises, what I want you to ask are these questions. Where did this limiting belief first show up? A few ways you can ask yourself, if you don't know that for sure, like if there's not an actual situation where you can remember it showing up for you in your life, I want you to think about, when is the last time that you did not have this belief? So if you believe you're not good enough, when is the last time that you believed that you were good enough? And think about what shifted between then and now. Journal about that. Another thing I think we always miss about fear. So we talk all the time about be fearless, just do it, like get over things. And that's true. We need to fix we have to do things in spite of fear, because fear, I hate to tell you, fear never actually goes away. You just learn how to embrace it and move forward anyways, but it never actually fully goes away. It will show up in different ways in your life, but it doesn't have to control you. But the issue with being like, oh, just be fearless, is that I think sometimes we don't recognize that fear and even limiting beliefs, they showed up in your life originally for some good purpose. They were trying to protect you from something. So for example, I'm not good enough. That may have showed up, like for example, maybe you got that message from a parent who only focused on what you did wrong. And so you always had this feeling of, I'm just never good enough. No matter what I do, I'm never going to be good enough for you. That message gets planted. If you think about, why did your parents say those things to you? Why did they make you focus on the things that you weren't doing right? Chances are they were thinking, as wrong as it is, they maybe were thinking, this is the only way I know to motivate a kid, is to, make them feel like they can never just rest and be like, oh, I did a great job. I need to make them think there's always more to accomplish, because that's what life is about. It's about accomplishing more, being more, getting more, doing more. So I need to motivate them, and this is how I know to do it. So think about what was the intention of where that voice originally came from. In that case, the intention was, I want you to succeed in life. I want you to conquer any barriers that you might face. That was the intention of that original voice. Do you get that? Does that make sense to you? So I want you to ask, what was the original positive intention of this fear or limiting belief? I'm not good enough. What was it originally showing up for you to do? And then to start to rewrite that script was what you guys really want to get to, is I want you to think, if I could honor that original voice. So in that scenario I just talked about, I want you to succeed. I want you to conquer any barriers that you might face. I want you to believe that you have what it takes. That's the actual intention. Okay, so how can I rewrite that same message in a way that supports me stepping into my dreams, believing that I can do the thing that I've been scared to do? So in that case, you could say things like, I know that I have what it takes to overcome barriers. I have learned that I'm able to succeed at whatever I put my mind to. I have learned that even with past failures, I'm not doomed to failure in the future. Those are the things. So when you catch your mind telling you you're not good enough, stop yourself. And you're going to have to start by verbally saying out loud, I don't accept that thought anymore. I'm not the person I was when that thought first showed up. I have learned many things, gained much experience, gained wisdom, gained knowledge, and now I know that this is no longer true. So you have to rewrite it for you. What is the message that you actually need to hear that's going to support you to get toward the thing that you got clear about last week that you want to happen in 2020? What messages do you need to hear? Now, I want you to think about, in the next 24 hours, I want you to visualize, how will you remind yourself of this new message? Think about going through your day. Could you write this message somewhere that you're going to see it multiple times? Maybe a Post-it note that goes on your steering wheel. Maybe you write it on your bathroom mirror. Maybe you put a note on your phone and have a reminder that it pops up a few times a day. And when it does, you say it out loud. You fight the thoughts that are against it, and you start to embrace that there is a new possibility. Friends, I'm telling you, it isn't that I wish I could just snap my fingers and everything would be different for you. But that's not always how. Sometimes I will say, when people get revelation about the origin of those voices and their actual intention, it becomes easier to shed them, because you realize you don't have to hold on to it anymore. If that came to you when you were 6 years old, you are no longer a 6-year-old. You have learned so much between then and now. You are capable of taking care of yourself way more than you could when you were 6. You didn't know when you were 6. You didn't know when you were 6. You know now. You don't have to be your 6-year-old self in your adult life anymore. You don't have to. So I know that this is a journey, and I know that the answers are not always easy, but hopefully these tools are at least a beginning for you of seeing what's actually possible for you in your future, because you're looking back at me and like, look, I don't need these fears or limiting beliefs. And the thing is, so think about that brick again, the brick and the mortar. The brick is what? It's your fear. And the mortar holding the bricks together is what? Your limiting beliefs. If you were going to take down a brick wall, wouldn't you want to start by chipping away at that mortar? Because if the mortar's gone, those bricks aren't going to stay up in a wall formation. You could easily knock them over. So you start addressing your fears by tackling your limiting beliefs. You're chipping away at that mortar, right? You can do this. I fully believe it. I have seen in my life, again, I'm not saying to you that, you'll conquer and all of a sudden all your fears are gone. They never show back up. Nothing is a challenge for you anymore. That's not the way it works. But you will learn your strength. You will learn how to move forward despite fears, and you will learn how to rewrite those scripts as you start to rewrite them. So you have to first believe it's possible, second, do some background work, and third, start implementing ways of switching these things around. And again, if you are still stuck, if these tools aren't giving you the revelation that you need to continue moving forward, set up that 20-minute chat with me. We'll see what we can get through in that 20 minutes, and then see if we can continue to work together to help you really break through those barriers. I will tell you that as I work with people in these areas, we get so much clarity, and that clarity means that they can really have a different future because the past has not as much power over them. So I believe in you guys. Again, remember about the contest. Commenting on the replay will get you entries. If you share this video, or you share the invite for next week. So we have one more session. All right. And next week, we're going to be talking about how to confidently and consistently stay in action for these goals that you've set and the mindset that you've just created. How do you consistently and confidently stay in action? We're going to talk about that next week. It's going to be really powerful. So get people online, share this video with them, share last week's video with them. And then I will be, after the conclusion of next week's video, I'll be doing the drawing for the coaching package. So looking forward to all that. And again, I'll drop the link below to set up the 20-minute chat with me. I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thank you for being with me today. And let's just kick ass in 2020. Okay? We're going to do it. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody.